Oh, hey, here for another episode of the Rock Fantasy YouTube vlog, the Rock Fantasy Files. I'm your host, Stephen Keeler, and I'm here with our good friend, John McEntee. Has been on the
Sup?
channel in a while, was on tour with Niall, did a successful North American tour, and we're here to talk about some things he's got coming up. But first, we'll talk, we'll start off with a sad note because he lost someone in the Incantation family.
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And I got the news late last night that our former bass player who played on the Onward to Golgotha album, Ronnie Dio, passed away. It really it's really was a sad thing. Ronnie was, an important part of the band and really kind of helped get things kind of off our feet. Early on, without getting too much into detail about the band, the history of the band, once things didn't work out with Paul Ledney and Aragon in the original lineup of the band, he was the first person that I was in contact with. I put an advertisement over at Bleecker Bob's in New York, and he had like my phone number on all the things, and he ended up calling me, and we just hit it off right away. He was a super cool, super nice guy, and he knew about the underground and stuff, and it just was a really great vibe, and we really became like best friends and kind of went through all the BS, you would say, of like auditioning guys and trying to get all the right guys in the band until we eventually fortunately came to the lineup that we did our first album Onward to Golgotha with. And it was there's a lot of really great experiences we had together. I mean, we were only really good friends for probably about from 1990 to about end of 92 when he left the band. But it was just amazing. The time that we did spend together was just so great. I mean, he was just always in good spirits, just a really positive dude, and just nicest guy to like everybody. I mean, everyone really loved him and stuff. Everyone that met him, and obviously he was a great bass player, and it's just a shame what happened. I mean, I don't know exactly what happened, but he passed away, that's all I need to know.
Yeah.
That it's a terrible thing. And unfortunately, after he left the band, we didn't keep in touch. Band situations get kind of complicated sometimes, and there's sometimes becomes bad blood between people and stuff. But I mean, I can speak for myself, is that I never hated Ronnie. I was disappointed, and I wasn't happy about some of the stuff that might have happened towards the end or whatever. But it was I never hated the guy, and I always I mean, we've done such amazing stuff together. There's a bond that musicians have that stands almost anything. I mean, you could talk with bands, they will fight like crazy with each other, but then they'll stick up for each other at the same time. It's like a family or something like that. And really, he was probably one of the nicest people I probably ever had in the band. I mean, to be fair, I didn't probably realize it at the time. I just thought he was super cool dude and stuff. But looking back, it just we had some great times. Went to a huge amount of shows together. I mean, we hung out like probably 5 times a week in that time period that he was in the band. I mean, between band practice and going to shows and going to parties and just going to record stores, we did all that stuff together all the time. We used to always travel for shows. He was like almost always up for it, as long as he was able to get some money up to go to a show, he was always down. So it's a real it's a real tragedy, and it's a terrible thing for all of us that have known him, because everybody that's known him, basically loved him, so it's a terrible thing. I mean, I haven't spoken to him, unfortunately, for quite a long time, but there's a lot of people out there that, I guess he still kept in touch with and stuff. And, those people really deserve, condolences and,
Sure.
stuff, all that kind of stuff, because, you know, he really touched a lot of people. I mean, I have a lot of great memories of him, but I, haven't spoke to him for quite a long time. I actually tried to, but he just wasn't interested. It just,
Mm,
for one reason or another, probably because he just thought I was an asshole or something like that because of the band stuff. I don't, who knows what, but, we never got to,
mm,
you know, work things out, which is something, yeah, I mean, I regret for sure, because I never hated him. And would have been more than happy to, talk to him and try to make things to a better situation, but just
mhm.
to a normal friendship, than,
Yeah,
a band kind of thing. It's sad. There's a lot of emotions that I have, because I
yeah.
do wish that I could have
I,
reconnected with them and stuff.
I can feel your emotion as to what you and what you're saying for sure. Well,
I mean,
my
real,
sincere condolences, from
yeah,
myself
really
on your
quickly. It's
loss.
just like I said, there's there's a and a connection that you have with that you play with. You might,
Mm-hmm.
people might say a lot of shit and people might be dicks to each other. You might talk about each other, whatever that situation might be. But
Mm,
when it comes down to it, one of the most important parts of my life, of doing our first album, getting the band together, was shared with him, so it's
mm-hmm.
super, super important. And it's a great loss for me, and it's a great loss for, the whole Incantation family and just the metal community and just any of
Mm-hmm.
his friends, it's a terrible thing.
Right.
So
Yeah, sad.
I don't know what else to
But I
say.
guess
What do you,
let's talk about some better news.
yes,
And let's
please.
talk about this amazing thing you put together, you and I guess some friends, and the Carolina Chainsaw Massacre Festival, which
Mhm.
is coming up the first weekend in June, correct? June 3rd and
Yes.
4th. So let's hear all about this. And if people still can make plans to attend it, I think once people hear about this, they may want to travel. They
Yeah.
may want to get on a plane or get in a car and drive to North Carolina that weekend, because you've got a stacked lineup here. So let's discuss this a little bit.
Okay. Well, basically, this is something that well, when I say we, it's my wife and myself came up with the concept
Hmm.
of doing this. It came up from having our wedding at the Texas Chainsaw Massacre gas station,
Yeah.
and we kind of had a wedding and had some bands playing stuff, and we just, thought it'd be cool to, maybe have some kind of, party event like that,
Hmm.
over here in North Carolina, closer to where, we're both from, well,
Yeah.
where we're from, so kind of went from there. And, it's been a whirlwind of like positive reoccurrences that happen. I mean, we've had so much support from the local the local scene here, as the horror scene and the
Mm.
metal scene here, and everyone's super excited about it. So it's really happy that this area really took on to this event and stuff. I mean,
So
first off,
go ahead.
first off, we had the guys in the band False Prophet, which are my good friends over here, which really kind of helped, support me and helped me kind of start off from the beginning and stuff. And then, from there, it's crazy. Like, our local record store, Hippo Records, is
Yeah.
supporting us. Woods of Terror, which is our local haunted house, are also going to be there and helping us out immensely with the whole thing. Just a bunch of even our local promoters here, what's it called, Crank It Loud, which puts on most of the metal shows here, are
Oh,
totally supportive and helping us out. So
that's awesome.
it's really great that it's become kind of a thing where, everybody is, contributing one way or another to make it an awesome event.
So this is a concert crossing over with sort of like a horror convention, of
Mhm.
course. And let's talk about the bands, and then
Mhm.
let's talk about some of the special guests you've got coming in to do like autographs and signing, and some of the vendors you might have. So the bands, of course, I'm looking at a flyer that might be a little outdated.
Mhm.
So, but I love the artwork on the flyer. It's got a skeleton up top with a chainsaw, and you got the skeletons on the side. The artwork's great. And
Yeah.
so let's hear who are the headliners. This is also a 2-day fest. It looks like it's at 2 different venues.
Yeah, it's at two different venues. We wanted to do it all at one venue, but it was difficult when we first started talking with the Blind Tiger, where we were doing the main event, because it's the first time doing anything with them, and they didn't want to risk, I guess, 2 days or whatever,
Okay.
giving us at first. So we found another venue in Winston-Salem called the Break Time Billiard Sports and Sports. It's like kind of
Yeah.
a venue, smaller venue that we have in Winston-Salem that would work good for the kind of like the first night, which the first night of it is more of a, more based on a metal show pretty much. We do have a couple of people, coming from the next day to, sign stuff while we're there, but it's mostly going to be a music event. And
Hmm.
basically, as far as the headliners go, I mean, well, Incantation's headlining the Break Time show, which is the Winston-Salem day. And for that show, we're doing a special 90s set, which will, basically have stuff from the Onward to Golgotha album, Mortal Throne Nazarene, Forsaken Morning of Angelic Anguish EP, and the Diabolical Conquest album.
Wow.
So, we figure we do something special for that. So it'll be a great thing for all the old school, death metal heads.
For sure.
And, especially after the, passing of Ronnie Dio, we're definitely going to dedicate this
Mm,
90s set to him, for
awesome.
sure. And then besides us, we have, Deceased playing
Yeah.
the show, which is, legendary band. Everyone should know Deceased, and they fit perfectly in with the kind of the horror theme that, we kind of have with the event. We
Yeah.
have a Creeping Death playing, which is, they were like one of my top albums of last year,
Sure.
and I wanted to get them to play. And they're a great newer death metal band. And Perdition Temple, which is Gene, who used to be in Angel Corpse's newer band, which is a
Okay.
really really great brutal death metal. And actually, Gene also did some these two. So he's going to be there with some of his, some promoting his movie stuff as well, which is really cool. And
Oh,
we have these
cool.
two local bands playing, part of the reason why we wanted to do the Friday show is because we wanted to include some local bands on the show, because
Yeah.
just a Saturday show, we do have some local bands, but they were more of, I guess, older school local bands. We wanted to
Okay.
have some newer school local bands on the Friday, which is a band called Raw Hex, which is a band from Charlotte,
Okay.
which plays like, I guess you would call it like, um, black. It's like a black metal, black thrash kind of stuff. I don't. It's
Okay.
hard to explain with all labels these days. And then there's another band. It's from Greensboro called Pazer, which is a kind of a, I guess it would be considered a black metal band too. Which
Yeah.
I actually just seen them play a couple nights ago at this venue in town, and it was really great to see those guys, and it really was an intense show. And so I'm
Nice.
super psyched about it. And we will. I can confirm that is it John Dugan from Texas Chainsaw Massacre is going to go to the Friday show and the
Okay.
Saturday show to sign stuff, which is really cool. And I don't have any definites on any other guys who are going to the Friday night yet because we're still kind of working
Okay.
on it.
Well, let's hear about Saturday then. And of course, I see on the flyer that the doors on Friday is more of like a nighttime show. Doors are at 6, so it's like a
Yeah.
traditional concert night. And on Saturday, you kick stuff off at noon.
Yeah, I know.
You've got an all day setup going on, it looks like, right?
Yeah, it's an all day setup, and it's gonna be crazy, definitely, to move from a evening show to an all day show, but we'll make it work. But yeah, at 12 noon, the doors are open, and first from 12 to approximately say 4:30, 5 o'clock is going to be when most of the signing stuff's going to be there, and we're currently working on having the bands, like all the headliners, do a signing session during the day, and then also have obviously the horror guests that we have and the music guests that we have do signings. It's going to kind of like at 4:30 is going to be the main signing time, where we're going to have the table set up for it, and pretty much everything later on during the day is going to be up to the people themselves, so they want to stay and
so like
still hang out with
the
everybody.
afternoon's more of the convention and then turns into the concert.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah,
sure.
we were the venue that we're at is it's a decent sized venue, but it's not a huge venue, so we do have to split it into
it makes sense. I mean, my friend,
the other part.
I have a friend up here that runs a wrestling sort of, if you want to make comparison, during the day they do the autograph signings with the wrestling talent and some of the vendors, and then they kind of stop that, and then they set up the ring and they do the wrestling. So this to me reminds me of something like that, where I've done other things like that too, where you do the convention in the afternoon and you do the music event at night. So it makes total sense.
Yeah, and it's definitely going to be a fun event for sure. I mean, we have a bunch of cool horror artists that are going to be, horror actors that are going to be there. We have Ari Lehman from Friday, the original Friday the 13th. The kid that comes out of the water at the end of it and pulls I forget what her name was, but pulls the lady down from the boat. So we've been in touch with him. He's super psyched to do it. He's a really cool guy and good music guy. So we also have his band First Jason playing too.
I saw that.
Yeah, which is kind of a more of a fun type horror oriented band, which is a good thing, because we did want to make sure that with this event that it wasn't just going to be, say, a death fest or whatnot. We wanted some different stuff to be going on besides just the besides just say a death and a thrash metal type thing, and a band like First Jason fits in perfectly because it's more of a it's a serious band, but it has the kind of horror bass lyrics, and it's kind of more of a entertaining in a fun way kind of thing. And then we have Daryl Hammer from Friday the 13th. He was the street urchin in the beginning of the movie. If you remember, Friday the 13th Takes Manhattan. When they're first in Manhattan, and those punk kids that come up and see Jason early on in the movie, he was one of the punk kids in that scene there.
I remember that scene.
Yeah. And we have him. Let's see. We also, which is one I'm super excited about, is that, and to be honest, it's thanks to the Rock Fantasy Files, is we got a Reed St. Mark from Celtic Frost. I got to thank Pete Pardo for that one, really.
Of course. Reed.
And it's really awesome because since that Rock Fantasies Files, I realized he lives pretty close to where I am. We haven't gotten together at all, but we definitely talk on the phone every now and then. He's a super cool guy, and he's super stoked to do this because he hasn't done any event where he did a signing. He was supposed to do a signing once, I guess, in a venue in New Jersey, but it was just the situation was just kind of a mess and everything.
Mhm.
So this is going to be like the first time that he's at an event doing a signing. Um, I mean, maybe
Yeah,
since, I don't know. I don't
pretty
even know
cool.
when. So I mean, that's going to be super cool. And I know all the, underground people are definitely
Oh,
going
yeah.
to be excited about that,
You've got
and I know I'm
something
looking forward to getting
called,
my old frost dumps.
you've got something on the flyer, the Chainsaw Girls are gonna be, that sounds interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. We want, well, part of the theme of the fest is like an old school kind of 70s, 80s horror movie vibe. So it's like, it just seemed like it was proper to have, some
Mhm.
scream queen kind of chicks to be there, and they're
Yes,
not, I wouldn't say that they're official scream queens, but they're definitely going to be there,
they're gonna play the role.
they're going to play the role and definitely something that they'll be taking photos with people and just kind of causing general havoc throughout the night or whatnot, which is fits in
Mhm.
perfectly with the vibe, because we want people to dress up in costume if they can go to the can do that, or
Yeah,
however they want to. We just want to make it a really fun vibe for everybody.
sure.
But
You got, and I see on the flyer, you also have Rick Ross.
yeah, Rick Ross, which is
That's right.
another, is actually my friend Scott Prvarnik, the guy that builds guitars, actually played bass for us on our last tour. He's good friends with Rick, and yeah, I was totally honored to have Rick Ross be a
Mm,
part of it too. And he's gonna hang out, sign stuff, and he might play a couple songs with a band or two at the fest. So it'll be something
nice.
cool to check out.
So
Um,
Saturday, it looks like your headliner is Nuclear Assault.
Yes. But one thing before that
Oh,
is
I'm sorry.
a big one that I got to bring up is that we got Mark Price too from Trick or Treat, and
Oh,
he also played in I mean, he also was the kid in Family Ties of all things.
oh,
But
wow.
I know from the movie Trick or Treat, from it's a 70s one, like no,
Hmm.
sorry, 70s, 80s, like 86 or 87, the
Mm,
kind of the rockin' one where he's the kid with all the heavy metal posters in his room and stuff like
okay.
that. And it's definitely a good, it fit perfectly with, oh, my connection looks like it's bad again.
Now you're
Did I
sounding
break
okay
up?
still.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say his theme of the Trick or Treat movie fits in perfectly with the metal and the horror theme, because basically
Yeah.
Trick or Treat was kind of like a 70s, I mean, an 80s
Trick or Treat. Isn't
thrash
that the
metal.
one that wasn't that the one that Gene Simmons and
Ozzy was in
Ozzy
there, yeah.
Osbourne were in? Like
Yes,
cameo
exactly. Ozzy
roles
Os.
of it? Yeah, that's what I
It's
thought.
like it was a cameo, but they have them on a cover,
Yeah, of course they did. That's what's going to sell. Everybody's like, dude, there's a movie with Ozzy in there. I got to buy it.
Yeah, but it's a really good classic. I mean, if you're into the 70s horror movie stuff, it's definitely a classic in that style.
Mm-hmm.
It's has that it's gory, but it also has that fun aspect to it of a lot of the 80s
Mm-hmm.
horror movies. And we also have John Dugan from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is he's the grandpa who played original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Wow.
So we're super psyched to have him. I mean, and we had to have someone from Texas Chainsaw Massacre to fit in with our fest. So
Oh,
we were just
sure.
so happy to have him, and it's an honor to have him, to have him at our fest for sure. I
Yeah.
mean, especially because we've had some of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre people attend our wedding, so I figure we're gonna at least
Yeah.
try to get someone from Texas Chainsaw Massacre at each one if we can.
I
Um,
think that wedding you should have filmed a documentary about that wedding. That sounds so amazing.
yeah, actually, we do have a couple people that are going to be video documenting this event too.
That's
Um,
great.
that there's a couple of them. One is, I think was it Mark Price, Trick or Treat? I can't remember.
Mm.
I think it was him that is doing a documentary
Oh,
about, like, I don't know if it's about exactly what it's about, but I think it has something to do with like metal music and his connection to it and stuff like that. So you
Okay.
know, yeah, that'll be really cool. Plus, we also have some local people that are gonna, videotape the whole show too.
Yeah.
And we don't necessarily have any definite plans for it, but we might put together some kind of, little, best of
Yeah.
moments
Yeah.
kind of thing. And we do have one more guest.
Okay.
It's what's it? Bobby Campy. He is a local guy in our area that he does a lot of directing and film writing and stuff. And he's an independent guy.
Yeah.
And we were really excited to work with him because my wife and I are both big fans of really cheesy shark movies. And one of the movies that he works on was Shark Exorcist 2. So we thought, we have to have somebody, some kind of shark guy at our fest. And he's a super cool guy. I'm really excited to have him at the fest as well. As far as, the band part of it goes, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's incredible. I mean, we're very fortunate to have Nuclear Assault being the headliner for the show.
Yeah.
And then on top of the fact that they're headlining the show, I just found out a week or two ago that it's going to be Nuclear Assault's second to last show ever in the States.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, it makes it extra special, I mean, I know they're also playing at that show in Philly at the
Oh, the Decibel.
the Decibel beer fest that they have.
Yeah.
But this is another option in case you can't get to that. You can see them at our fest. And we're definitely working on trying to make it a special night, being it's one of the last shows. And, for me, Nuclear Assault is one of those bands. I mean, I'm originally from New Jersey, so they're kind of one of our kind of hometown hero bands. I've seen them numerous times back in the day at L'Amour's.
Sure.
And, and my relationship with Dan Loker has been, something super awesome that I've had since we've started playing with Incantation and stuff. And he was doing Brutal Truth and whatnot. So I'm just super appreciative that, they gave us the opportunity to have them play at our fest, and I seen them about, was it almost a year ago? No, it was I can't remember. Yeah, it was like a year ago. COVID screws everything up at my time. I seen them a year ago, and they played it in Georgia at the it was a Devastation Mass Destruction Fest.
That's what Suffocation played, right? Yeah.
Yes, and
So it was like I don't even think it was a year ago. It's probably more like
November.
maybe last fall. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Nuclear Assault, I was surprised how good they sounded. I mean, it's not that I'm surprised they sounded good. I knew they would, but they sounded the best that I've seen them play for years. I mean, I've seen them numerous times throughout the years, but I mean, they had the same fire of like the, say the late 80s or mid 80s vibe, Nuclear Assault, which I was really impressed with. And it just made me feel, I just felt super happy because I'm like, yes, they're totally kicking ass. And that's exactly what we wanted our fest, was every band to kick ass,
So who's this special on a flyer? Maybe a little old. There's a special guest to be announced.
Yeah, yes. A special guest on that show is also Incantation. Incantation, we're playing the Saturday too.
Yeah.
Saturday, we're playing we're playing none of the songs that we're playing the first night. We're not playing any of those songs the second night. The second night, we're playing not all new album material, but all material, say post 2000 at that show.
I see.
And we also, I can't say what's going to happen, but we're just going to be a special, guest appearance during our set.
Great.
For the encore, which, it's one of those things that you have to be there to know what it's going to be. But I can guarantee you that it's going to be something that, most fans are going to think is super cool. So super excited about that. Then of course, next we have Demolition Hammer, which, is, really one of the premier of, like, I don't know, it's almost like was it be considered second generation thrash from New York? I don't really know.
Yeah.
It's I mean, for me, Demolition Hammer is one of those bands that it was crazy. I mean, they did well for themselves back in the day, but it was like they weren't never truly appreciated, I think, at the time because of the death metal scene at the time. But now that, people had time to, people are a little more open-minded about other stuff, Demolition Hammer totally, has been getting their due. And I'm super excited about it. Those guys are super cool, and I'm looking forward to having them. And
Mhm.
then besides them, we have Nasty Savage,
Yeah,
which for me
nice.
is a dream come true. That's another Rock Fantasy Files hookup. So just like connections to Rock Fantasy File all throughout this. So I got to thank you, Steve, for that. Um, and yeah, and for me, it's really important to have, a band like Nasty
Mhm.
Savage on, because I mean, they're in there, and a band that I grew with as a kid. And, their, stage show and just their stage presence is perfect for an event like this, which, I'm looking forward to seeing Nasty Ronnie smash some TVs on his head
Oh
at,
yeah,
and stuff like that. It'd be a total blast.
he goes crazy still like that.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen him perform since the 90s, and of course the 80s, and the stuff he would do, just great. He was a guest. We interviewed him on here on the
Yeah.
Files last winter, and it was a trip having him on and touching base with him again.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, really, as we talked about in the episode of Rock Fantasy Files, it's like Nasty Savage is one of those bands that really influenced a lot of death metal bands out there too, not just the thrash world. I mean, bands like Early Death and Massacre and you know, Obituary, all those bands were all fans of Nasty Savage at that time. They were the hot shit in Florida at that time. Um, yeah, but as far as other bands, we have this other local band. We have False Prophet playing, which
Mhm.
is they're a band that, I mean, if you guys aren't aware, they are a band that's from the same time period as Incantation.
Wow.
They never got really got the popularity obviously as us, but they've been around the scene since then. And besides the fact that being some of my best friends and helping out immensely with, the organization of the fest and
Yeah.
everything, it just great band. And we're also we're planning out to have a special set with them too, as well, where at least for the people that know False Prophet or the local people, will definitely be something special too. That is, not a normal set of theirs. And then we also have our Incantation drummers band, Shed the Skin. It's Kyle Severin's band with it has some of the guys from Ringworm who also play in that,
Oh,
and my friend Ash Thomas. She plays in you played in Estuary, a band that I used to have on my label, but what's
okay.
it? Faith Extractors is other band that he played in. Anyway, yeah, and I'm super psyched to have Shed the Skin play. I mean, of course, the connection with Kyle and myself, we've been buddies forever and stuff. And I just want to always have on our fest minimum one band is connected to the Incantation family directly. And
Mm.
Shed of Skin is that band, definitely be Keeler. And then the last band, or the opening band, I guess, for the fest is going to be Ulrich Horror, which is another classic old school band from the North Carolina area.
Oh,
They were also around at the same time in the late 80s, early 90s. Kind of, they were part of the early death metal scene here. So it's an honor to have them play. When I knew that they were together still down here, I was just like, for myself being, the underground fanatic that I
mm,
am, I'm like, we gotta get Ulrich Hard to play. It's
yeah.
one of those local bands that, it would be like picking a band like Primeval or Immolation to play in New York. It's like
Yeah, yeah,
no
yeah, yeah.
question. So yeah, it's really cool. So those are all the bands and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
there's also more to the event than that. I feel like that guy on TV, and there's more. No, but we have like I told you, we have Woods of Terror is kind of like our main sponsor for the event, and that's our local our local haunted house in our area.
Oh,
And they're super cool, and they're gonna, I mean, besides having, a table there at the event, they're gonna be doing like a horror makeup for people who want to,
Oh, cool.
get a horror face on and stuff like that.
Gonna be
And they're,
Halloween in June.
yeah, pretty much they're gonna do that, and they're also gonna have like some of their, I guess what do we considered? Their horror actors, or the people that, are in the haunted house are
Yeah,
gonna be coming there in costumes and doing, just kind of causing havoc and putting on
scaring your concert
putting
goers, hopefully.
some scenes and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're really trying to,
Hmm.
think a little bit outside the box and
It
normal
sounds
fest.
like a really good time, and yeah, definitely. It's always fun when you do add, you got a great concert lineup, but when you're adding stuff like horror actors wandering around and drinking beers,
Yeah.
zombies, live zombies. You can advertise live zombies.
Well, that's the whole thing, is we wanted something where it was going to give a
Yeah.
fun hometown vibe to it. Being horror, it's great because we want to have people hanging out with, all the, celebrities that we have there to guest, and
Yeah.
just, try to make it something where it's going to really be a night to remember, and not just,
And
not just another a fest or whatever.
how far are the venues from each other?
The venues are about, I would say, a 20-minute drive from each other.
Okay.
So it's not too bad. And, like Winston-Salem and Greensboro are kind of like the twin cities in this area.
Okay.
We have Greensboro, High
And is there
Point, and
is there a combined ticket for this where you go to both shows, or if some people can only like live in the area, maybe only can make one night, or you're welcome to just attend a Friday or a Saturday if you
yeah, we're totally flexible. You can get all the information on our website. I
on the
mean, we have,
website, which we'll put the links in the video in the notes here, so everybody can check it out. And there's still
yeah,
plenty of tickets available if someone's making plans here, and as we film this in April, and you'll have plenty of time to make plans to come there in June if you really want to, for sure.
yeah, and it's something where you buy ticket nights. We have different, a couple different packages and stuff like that. And
Okay.
the, tickets are selling really good. I mean, we've been selling a good amount of tickets up to this point, and it's going to start picking up even more, I think. So I'm, really, especially if anyone's traveling, I would definitely say it's better to buy tickets
You better
in
buy,
advance.
don't wait and buy tickets and try on the day of.
I don't, yeah,
There
I
might not
think
be any left.
that's the thing, is I don't know. I mean, it's the way things are going now. It's going to be a packed house, which will really,
What's the capacity of, let's say, the Blind Tiger?
the Blind Tiger capacity. I think if I've gotten a couple different numbers, but I think the real number is close to about 500 or something.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, you're
It's
definitely gonna fill this room, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's already even with the people that are coming now, it's going to
Yeah,
be a filled room, because we have a good,
yeah.
our ticket sales have been actually really good. I'm really fortunate that it's been going good.
I picture this being a yearly event.
I hope so. I mean, we're already planning on doing it again. I mean, to be fair, it sucks with some of the stuff going on in the world now, with the gas prices being high and stuff like
Oh,
that.
of course.
It's a real bummer. Yeah, really, it's to put on a fest like this,
Mm,
the prices just went through the roof on everything, like
mm.
the prices that we quoted on everything, back in, I don't know, November, December, when we were
Yeah.
doing it, it's like everything went up like
Oh, yeah.
ridiculous amounts
The
instead.
bands that are traveling in, yeah, from
Yeah,
Florida or whatever, yeah.
exactly. I mean,
But
yes. So it's a bummer,
hopefully,
but we'll get through it and stuff like that. And we'll definitely look forward to keeping this something that we could do, over and over again. Hopefully one of these days we can get your ass down there,
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Get me to North Carolina? You might want,
Yeah.
if I go
You
down
might
there, I
want to
might not
stay.
want to stay up here.
I know.
You might want to, you're gonna have to help move all this shit, bro. You know how much stuff's up here? Yeah, I'm just in the shadows of everything going on with my wife still, and just
Yeah.
taking care of her and trying to keep her going and keep the business going. But it's great to have the Rock Fantasy vlog to reach out to everybody and help promote metal, which I've been doing all my life, like you have. And their connections not as bad as the first try. You have froze up a couple times, but I think even when you froze up, we could still hear what you were saying. So
Oh,
on the
good.
and so I guess we should wrap it up. We've been talking a while. I think we covered all the bases and we dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's when it comes to this event. And of course, we look forward to having John back on and our usual music chants and rants here when time allows. And hope everybody can make it to the Carolina Chainsaw Massacre Festival. And I hope no one loses a limb or an arm to these chainsaw maniacs that he's going to have running around.
Yes. Yes. Be careful. And just make sure when you go, you're just ready to party and have a good time, because it's definitely going to be a crazy time for all, for sure.
I guess you'll have a couple of the Rock Fantasy File guys there. I think Tony Dio will probably be in attendance, I'm sure.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
And
Definitely.
a couple guys that have been doing the file since you have been off. I have Johnny Cavaluzzi and his son, who plays in a band down that way, and they say they run into you at shows a lot. They were just up in the shop on Saturday. So they said they were going. I think Jay Abadi from the Middletown metal scene up here was coming down to the festival too. So you'll get a couple New Yorkers down there.
Oh, that's cool. That'd be awesome. Yeah. I mean, we're North Carolina, even though it's North Carolina, we've still got Southern hospitality here. So we're ready
So
for everybody.
of course, you're making some event merchandise. I'm hoping.
Yeah, we'll have some event merchandise to sell
Shirts
for
and
sure.
whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a fun thing. And we do have some like package deal things with some stuff, some VIP kind of package deal
Oh,
stuff.
excellent. So of course, if you're interested, please check in the liner notes and go to the website and get your tickets and support metal. And hey, we've been waiting for a couple of years to get out and do stuff like this, and it's here now. So don't waste any time. Just get out there and support.
Enjoy life while you can, so
You
it's
never
better to
know
go
when
out
they
there
gotta
and enjoy.
lock us down again or something. Yeah.
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen.
For sure. So anything you'd want to add, or I think we should wrap this up.
Yeah,
Because
I'm totally
we've
cool
been running pretty long with it, and I
Mhm.
think we covered. And of course, our condolences to your lost member
Oh,
from
Ronnie
incantation
Dio.
from
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, definitely. Yeah. Of course, condolences to him and
His
all that.
family and
Yeah, his
everyone.
family and
And
everything.
and
And
it
yeah,
sounds like you're going to pay great tribute to him on Friday night. And you're gonna have to really be jamming 2 nights in a row, man. You're gonna be ready for this after party. I see there's an after party at the party too. So
yeah. So I'll need the after party by the time that comes. Trust me.
man, you'll need a couple days off after it too.
Yeah, pretty much
All
after
right, man.
that, I'm gonna be done. Yeah.
So support it, check it out and other things, and we'll see you back here soon on the Rock Fantasy YouTube vlog. Thanks, guys.